Hello and welcome to another episode of DC Alliance with Joe as always. Joe, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. Are you okay?
I short circuited there
Yeah,
for
I
a
can
second. I'm
tell.
baby monitor duty, chapter 250 of DC Alliance.
There you
With
go.
me as always is Joe. Part two. We're keeping that in too. We're keeping that
Oh
in.
yeah, no heck yeah, we got to. That's the best part.
That's what happens when you have to put down your kid before the podcast and you almost fall asleep. You're still shaking the cobwebs out here.
Yeah. Plus, we haven't been on Thursday in quite a while.
We've
So
been all
like
over the place lately, like Fridays, Wednesdays.
Tuesday, yeah. Like we just been like, hey, we're gonna do an episode. Okay, cool.
We're like
No,
content.
yeah. I mean, we knew this was gonna happen. We knew toward the end of the year we were gonna start getting things.
We were going through the
This,
desert of content for the
yep.
first half of the year. So
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling over at Walks of the Multiverse is trying to figure out what I'm going to do for episodes. Although I've got episodes planned for the next couple of weeks, it's just getting the content watched to then talk about.
it's always hard about too. Like I'm starting to Beware the Batman, and the
Ooh,
first
nice.
episode. Yeah, it's been a while. I watched a few episodes. I don't think I watched the whole thing throughout. So it was one season. So that'll be a fun little
Yeah,
go
I
around.
think I've only ever watched the first episode. I'm like, yeah, this one isn't for me.
I like the CG animation. I'm a big fan of that. Like I liked that back in the day with Reboot and there's a Spider-Man animated series that went on
Yeah, the one on TV, right? Yeah,
MTV, but it ended after 13 episodes. I like the animation style. It's just like it's come a long way. Like
sure.
Superman, Batman, Battle of the Super Sons. That one
Yeah,
was the same thing. So it's just you can see the like way it got
where it
improved.
started to where it is. Yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
how you been, buddy?
Not too shabby. I'm taking tomorrow off. I'm gonna call in because I do not want to work a full week of work
Nice.
for the rest of the year. So I've got days scheduled off in like a day a week scheduled off in December, so I don't have to work a full week. I'm only working 3 days next week. Didn't want to work tomorrow, so that's another like basically I haven't worked a full week since October. So
Nice.
it's gonna be
That's always
nice.
way the game system. I get off tomorrow too. Tomorrow's my every second Friday I have off because I work a little extra than the 8 hours I have to work every day, or 7.5 actually.
Yep,
So
very
I'm
good.
excited. But me and Oliver are gonna go for haircuts.
Fun.
So yeah,
I need
that'll be
a
fun.
I need a trim. Yeah.
Yeah, my hair's up to the sky. My birthday's in like next week, so I'm like I want to look half sensible. So
Eh.
in case there's a picture of me holding Oliver in the birthday cake, I don't want
Oh,
to
that's
look like
fair. Okay.
the hobo that I am right now. The hat is hiding everything, any YouTube watchers, but yeah, it's my hair is like basically think Sideshow Bob or
Nah.
Krusty at this moment. So yeah,
Nice. Very nice.
but we're not here to talk about hair or anything, Joe. We're here to talk about Superman and Lois. We got a
Yeah.
new episode. We only have two more left after this one, so things are starting to heat up. I can't wait to get into it, and we have some DC news too. Potential next movie that has a director and a main actor. So
Potential.
before we do all that, let me get the network plugs out of the way. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 6 shows in total. On Mondays, bi-weekly is Ranger Alliance. On Tuesdays is a walk through the multiverse. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. And on Saturdays is DC Alliance. Star Wars Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And DC Alliance goes live normally Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, and Star Wars Alliance if you just want DC content, Marvel content, or Star Wars content only. But if you want all 6 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. I also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically chip there, like we're doing. You want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. We have 3 different shows up there, Patreon exclusive shows for the patrons. Myself and Joe are going through all the DC films through the years, all the way back from Batman 66. Over 25 pieces of content on there right now. We also have the Marvel Alliance guys, Kristen Brent, doing their Tales from the House of X, talking about their favorite Fox Marvel films. One
That's
left.
ending. Yes,
That's
that's ending
ending
next week.
next
Yeah, the
week.
next last show.
And then they have the Infinity Saga covered and the backlog for the patrons. And we have Joel's Multiverse Minutes, where right now he's doing his Disney deep dives. Not only is he talking about reviewing a Disney film, he's giving you some behind the scenes facts, tidbits, all that fun stuff. Joe, what's on deck for next month? Because it's the 1st and the 15th of every month, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
sir. Next coming up at the beginning of the month will be Lady and the Tramp. It's a movie
Ooh,
I hadn't watched in
spaghetti. Spaghetti.
Yeah, that's the one scene everybody thinks of. There's a couple of ones that I remember before I, started watching it, but yeah, no, that's one I haven't watched in forever. And rewatching it, yeah, there's a lot of racism. I know that's not shocking because it's the 50s, but there's a lot of racism.
I'm not shocked at all. Remember those
Again,
birds?
50s.
Yeah. Times
Anyway,
were really bad back then, Joe. Times were really bad.
yeah, I'll talk.
Um,
I'll get into it when I cover it. But yeah, that's
you
over on
usually
the
do.
Patreon.
You usually do. We thank everyone that's a patron, but if you're not a patron, if you take a quick 30 to 60 seconds to rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, that always greatly appreciate it. It helps other people find the shows, and that's always a good thing. Buster Barnes said, I accidentally woke up midway today, but I luckily work from home, so no one from work noticed.
Yeah, we were talking about work and all. So.
Shout out teams, Buster Barnes, because I work from home too, and yeah.
I work at General Motors, Buster, so I can't really work from home. Don't think I can build a truck from my house. So
I you can try. It might be worthwhile.
I don't think I would do much.
Get a couple pieces put
well,
together.
Maybe.
So yeah, we have a new episode of Superman and Lois, season 4, episode 8, Sharp Dressed Man. Joe, what are your thoughts on the episode? Spoiler free, of course, before we get into spoilers.
Spoiler free thoughts. This one was interesting. It's it's setting up kind of what we're going to be getting in the very end. Like this whole season, Luthor has been trying to get Lois and Clark, Superman Clark, to the point of discrediting them. And now that he has got to this point, especially with what he did on this episode, it is very, very interesting because there's a lot of things going on, behind the scenes that he is. I mean, and he's not even the one moving everything into place anymore. It's
Nope.
What's it, Amanda that is kind of taking everything in place. So took over because he had you could say a breakdown this episode. But yeah, no, this was I like this episode, especially like it was another one of those that the last couple I was fine on, but I wasn't like it didn't knock me out of the park or anything. This one was interesting in what they offered and how they went about it, and it was I really liked it.
It also used a lot of older, used scenes from previous episodes that we thought were just vengeance, but no, Amanda had a bit more of a plan in mind with them, which I did like. I liked how they went back to that. This was her biggest episode.
Yeah,
also,
100%.
I don't want to spoil anything for anyone.
Not yet.
Not even in general, because I've mentioned this multiple times throughout previous episodes. But you don't mention a guy's name 75 times unless he's going to play a factor in the final 2 episodes. Just FYI, we'll get into it in the spoiler territory. But you don't mention a character name 25 times if he's not going to play a big factor in the final 2 episodes.
Oh,
so,
Tom Cavanaugh?
No, I look forward to speculating. We'll get into it.
We can talk about that one. Yeah.
Yes, that's a good Gilbert Godfrey. That was a nice little DCU nugget.
Gordon Godfrey.
Gordon Godfrey,
not Gilbert.
Gilbert Godfrey. Gordon Godfrey. Yeah, he was really I remember him in the first time I saw him was in the Justice League animated series when he basically tricked the Flash multiple times into getting him to put his foot in his mouth and causing the Justice League problems. So
I know Gordon Godfrey from the comics. I was first introduced to him I never really read it up until recently, but Legends is the first one canonically in the modern DC comics he became a major part, and he helped try to turn the tide on people going against superheroes. And the way that they portrayed him in this with Tom Cavanaugh was really well done, especially in today's terms. Give him a talk show on a podcast of sorts on in today's time. Really good talking head thing. I really enjoyed their interpretation of G. Gordon Godfrey.
Yes, and there's a couple other ones. I'm pretty sure he appeared in Smallville. I vaguely remember him. I think within the later seasons. I know he appeared in Young Justice as well.
Yes. Well, and
And
he kind of works alongside this guy, Darkseid.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
But I don't think Darkseid's coming into play here, folks, in the final
No,
two
no, no,
episodes.
no.
I think that might have been where this was a 7-season story. I think that might have been
It could have been laying ground for it in like season 6.
yes,
But yeah,
and having Tom Cavanaugh, he directed this episode as well, so that's
did
kind of
he?
I think part of
Nice.
the reason why he no, actually he did not direct this episode. He directed an episode earlier. He Michael Cuditz directed this episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So
Nice. Good for him.
yeah, and again, I always love seeing Tom Cavanaugh. He just gets into any role they play, and he can play an asshole really good.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, like goddamn, I really enjoyed that. So Joe, let's rip off the spoiler band-aid and get into everything. But before we do that, let's take our first ad break. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads or volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe, let's get into this episode. Lois gets some good news right off the hop in this episode. She is cancer-free. The worrying that she did that it was going to come. She has beaten it, and it was nice to get that little bit of positive message. But it kind of gets demolished
Cowards. Yeah.
right away because Luther is on TV and he's basically calling out Lois Lane. He's with Gilbert Godfrey, who is played by myself and Joe talked about
Gordon
that.
Godfrey.
Gordon Godfrey by Tom Cavanaugh. Thank you for saying me again. I might do that one more time. I'm just going to say Godfrey.
One more. Just the Godfrey. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm cover myself. And yeah, he's played by Tom Cavanaugh. So, what do you think about his performance, Joe?
Wonderful. Really did a really good job. Really enjoyed it.
Perfect take for live action. I've really enjoyed.
I definitely. So he had a very
slimy way about him.
Yeah, like I don't want.
When we openly see him the first time with Superman, he doesn't say anything like "Thank you for being Superman" or anything. All he gives
He
for
starts
is
attacking almost. Yeah,
he was like, "Well, you gave the interview to Janet Olsen, that hack."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Okay, yeah, right after hot there, Godfrey."
Well, and I don't. Okay, so if you've listened to the show long enough, you know my leanings. And he is very, and it's just either one side or the other. It's literally all of them. If you're on the political spectrum, one side will do it, the other side will do it. He's one of those where it's like he's definitely on this one side. And
he reminds me of Jesse Waters. And if anybody, you can look that up. When he took his first show, his mom was there on the call, and called in and said, "Please don't be like he actually ended up being." She's like, "Please be nice to people and all that kind of stuff." So
yeah, he's a piece of crap.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm saying. Like it's similar to that. He has an agenda, and Lois called him out the entire time. Like, he has an agenda he's going to push, and it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. He will twist it to fit his
and
agenda.
We see him do that at the end of the episode.
Exactly.
So yeah,
it's not a thing on one side. Both sides do it.
Yeah.
Because every side is
100%,
terrible.
100%. Some are just better at it than others.
Correct.
So yeah. They find out that Otis is not going to be able to help testify as he's dead in his prison cell.
Yeah,
suicide. So
before he got to Jeffrey Epstein.
Before he could testify, he agreed to, and then before he could, he was gone. And while this is happening, John runs tests on Clark, and we find out what we basically already knew since he collapsed. We speculated this. The heart that he has isn't exactly made for him, and he's going to gradually lose his powers more and more and more until he's going to wake up one day and he doesn't have powers.
Honestly, that's assuming he actually
lives
that far. Like, if his heart is going out because it's a 60-year-old man's heart in a 40-year-old man's body, it could easily
60-year-old human heart in a 40-year-old Kryptonian's body.
Yeah, exactly. So it may not even make that long.
Well, I'm going to shout out Chris Balga here again because this is prime for his theory that he sent me that we spoke about, but after these events we haven't got back to. He thinks that Doomsday's heart is going to be used to put Clark back to normal.
I do remember that, and honestly, probably.
I think we're leaning far more there now because he's been gone now for what? So I feel like he's going to show up and save Clark.
Well, because they don't have the budget. Like their budget is going to wait for the last episode. So.
Oh yeah, but even
he'll show up next episode. and then we'll have the final episode will be like 20 minutes of like resolution, and then 20 minutes of goodbyes.
I'm interested to see how they. I'm really interested to see how they end this off, Joe, because I still feel like they might set it up so that you can continue going on because they had a plan for 7 seasons, and like,
You could
why not pitch this to Netflix? Why not pitch this to, you know what I
honestly,
mean?
you could, if anything, you could leave a couple threads open, make a comic,
Yeah.
make
Oh
an
yeah.
animated show. Like,
Well, even
look,
Smallville had its
I'll say,
own
yeah, look at
Buffy
Smallville.
comic, and
Smallville, they
everyone
kind
loved
of
that.
closed. They closed that, and then they had like a 2-season comic come
Everyone
out.
loved the comics. Like, this is one of the ones that very few like movie adaptation or TV adaptation comics go well. But I've never heard anything but positive things about the Smallville comics.
Smallville one, Buffy's another one. I think Firefly's really kicking off. Although news came out today that Boom Studios is dropping all of the Whedonverse stuff, so Firefly and Buffy. So it was good until who knows what happens. But
Uh,
yeah, like there's been, I know, like Jericho. I don't know if you remember that show,
yep,
Jericho,
yep.
from the early 2000s. Like that had a comic adaptation for a little bit.
Young Justice even had like
Young
continue
Justice had
on from
some.
season
They
4.
were, yeah, Young Justice ones were good. I never did read past like the first initial run.
I read the
We
one
had
that
we had the one writer.
Christopher Smith, I think his name was.
Yeah, we had him on
And they
Animation
were
Nation at
talking
one
about,
time.
like, yeah, and they were talking about, like, he was talking about if more people read the comic, that's another thing they can go to, be like, see people like
Yeah,
still like the show.
that comic was pretty good.
Yes,
Although
yes,
it sounds like nobody read it because
no,
we didn't
definitely,
that didn't go anywhere.
definitely. And again, I do think there is a market out there to sell the show, and like, not to get into other weeds of things, but like WBD is licensing out inside the NBA to ESPN next year because they lost the basketball
Oh
rights.
yeah.
So they're taking that product and licensing out and getting paid for it, for the production of it, for the actual content, and giving it to ESPN to put on their platform. I don't know how there's not a position somewhere for this Superman show to continue on for more seasons.
I think it's Gunn being like,
I
hey,
hope it's
we
not that.
well, like he's letting this run its course.
No,
It
it's not
got
that,
forced.
because it was supposed to be 7 seasons, and
I
now it's
understand that.
automatically just
So
ending.
I
And
don't.
we have people
We
like,
know.
we have General Blaine being like, this, like, I don't know why James Gunn wanted this to end, and like, again, the few of the cast are putting the blame on James Gunn.
Are
Liz
they okay?
McCulloch is not one of them, but the guy who plays Jordan and the guy who plays Sam Lane have both said it in interviews that I've listened to, where they've speculated that's the reason why. I just hope it's not,
They're
because
speculating.
yeah, I know. I just
Like
hope it's not, because you have Reeves' Batman universe is existing, and you're allowed to still make Brave and the Bold. I don't understand why it can't be the reverse, where Superman show exists, you can still make your Superman movie. I don't know why this show wouldn't take away from any person that would go and watch.
it wouldn't. We've talked about that
This
before.
would be more
It
of a
would help
vehicle
it.
to drive people. Yes,
Yes,
yes. So
but
I
I
don't know if
mean
that's the case. It could be something to do with Next Star CW. So I don't want
exactly
to.
because I mean look at CW and their I'm not even gonna say their ratings, but look at like what they have on their network right now. They with all the other Arrowverse shows finishing and then not renewing stuff, like it just
This goes
why
back
stick
to
there?
it just sticks with me a little bit, because why no tweet or thread or anything about the end of this show anywhere? You've did it for every movie, Zolo, all those. You've did it for animated projects. You did it for up the comics. You did it for up the amount of things, Joe. Up the amount of things. Like, I
But
can't.
not the
And
show.
that's a Newfoundland slang term there, if there ever was one. So yeah, that it just, I don't know. It's very frustrating.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't want to get into that side of things where I'm like, James Gunn, don't. I just hope before the end of the show there is something saying, "Hey guys, go check out the final episode
Yeah,
of this
we got 2 weeks of
fantastic
that. So who
Superman
knows?
show." Yeah, I got my
We
doubts.
get half of that.
I got my doubts, but this show is fantastic, and yeah, so uh, not everything's not going very well. Clark does not look like Clark's going to survive, maybe even past the end of this season, from where they're laying the breadcrumbs here. Uh, and while this is going on, Natalie is not having a good time with her work-life balance with the DDO.
Yeah, because like the boys are supposed to go meet her and Candace for a movie, and they are in the store across the way, and the fact that they are gonna go like buy all this candy, I don't know if they're gonna sneak it in the movie. Which, come on, guys, just go buy theater stuff. That's how they make their money. But they get run off. That they don't make.
No, don't take shots at taking the cheaper way out there when the theaters charge $7 for a candy box that you could buy $1 in the same mall that the
Oh,
theater
sure, sure,
exists in.
sure. But that's the thing. I don't buy the candy. I buy the popcorn.
Oh yeah, I'm out about popcorn. You can't buy the popcorn anywhere else. I
Yeah,
bring the
exactly.
popcorn home
Yeah.
else. Yeah, but
Yeah.
candy's outrageously expensive in theaters compared to what
That's
it is.
why I
Like,
don't buy candy there,
it's
and
just
I sneak it
crazy.
in.
Like I go to the store, like it's in the mall, Joe. So it's very frustrating because there's like a store there you can get stuff, and then you can go on into. No one pats you down. No one checks you for candy. Like you can bring in candy if you want. So
Yeah.
I don't know what theater
Well, that's
they're
fine.
going to where people are patting you down to make sure you don't bring in any candy.
Oh, dude, back in the day, like they would check like women's purses to make sure they're not bringing stuff in. That was years ago. I think nowadays the teenagers that run the everything, they don't give two shits.
Yeah, they're like bring in candy. Who cares? Not my
Yeah, it's
body.
like okay, I get paid $7.50 an hour. All
Just
I
like
do is
the way the other employees should have been, but they didn't realize they were just being like gung ho
yeah.
about it.
But anyway, so they are yeah.
There,
All the
Albert Dean
game.
says that's just one of the issues becoming so online because it becomes an issue when he doesn't tweet about stuff like this. Exactly, and I'm not saying anything other than just give a little bit of flowers at the end of the season when you've tweeted out about all kinds of other things. That's all. It's just, and I'm not going to get out of my soapbox if he doesn't do it. Like after the show's over, I'm not going to care. It's just probably something that should be done. That's all.
Yeah. We'll see in 2 weeks when
Yes.
about that one. Anyway, yeah. So the boys go outside. They go to look at what all the ruckus is, and apparently somebody found out that the boys are going to go to the movie. And I like how the one, I think it's what was her name? The clerk.
The one Natalie, I think her name. No, not Natalie. Oh my God, I can't remember her name now. She was in the last episode with Clark.
Denise.
There you
Yeah, she's like, hope you guys know you can't just leave your truck here.
go. Yeah,
And if you go to the theater,
just because you're a superstar now or something like that, or you're.
But then like they hear all the ruckus and they leave the candy on the counter, and she's like, "What are you doing?
No, are you going to pay for this?" So they just leave, but they didn't take the candy either.
They didn't take the candy, but they also like got out of there as soon as everybody saw them.
And then they realized they were there for them, and I can hear Jordan's so hot, and then they took off. And yeah, I love that though. That's just the drawback of Clark's like message from the last episode. People would come there, so like everything plays out the way that we thought it would prior. So
yeah, exactly. But I bring that up because this is Nat. She's trying to leave to go hang out with the boys, and she's struggling with this bit, and she's like, you know what, I'll just get it tomorrow. And this one, John's like, yeah, there is no tomorrow. The deadline is like now. Like we work for a company. We can't just, be fast and loose with the stuff. We actually have to deliver. That's what the DOD wants us to do.
She's over it. You can see it in her eyes. She
Yeah.
just wants to get out. And I props to John for noticing that. A couple seasons prior, he wouldn't have, like the first season that she was in the show.
Correct.
He
Season 2.
So you can see the progression here. He sees it immediately, identifies it, and says, "Go take the rest of the day off. I'll be fine. I'll handle this." Because John has agreed to step in for Superman today while he's handling Lois's tests and in the back and forth. I can't say interview. Face off. I'll say.
Later.
So, yeah, that's his job, and we have a thing right away where they go and save somebody, but this was all a ruse. You can see pretty easily because it's Milton.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to say what I said in the spoiler part. You don't say a guy's name 75 times, which his name gets said a hell of a lot in this episode.
I think it gets said every time Amanda's on screen. She says it.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew.
So yeah, Milton Fine. So if you know Smallville or
it's Milton.
Brainiac,
they never say fine.
No, they just fine in earlier episodes.
No, they say fine and then Milton. Like they don't actually call it Milton Fine. That's just us connecting dots.
Connecting dots, yeah.
But they keep calling him Milton.
Yes, and there is a point where way after I want to say it now because I might forget to mention it. John and Nat are talking after all the events. We'll get into the events. I won't get ahead of myself with the events, but they're talking and they're like, who could do that? And they're like, Lex Luthor is not that like tech smart here on this earth, is he? And then they mention a person on their earth, and they're like, could it be him? And John says, it could be someone even smarter, even better.
Yeah.
So I think that is Brainiac. And
I mean, I did see somebody posting like, "Oh, it's definitely Brainiac. This Milton's definitely Brainiac." Like, probably, like he might become a Brainiac, but like he is definitely a super genius
I
right
could
now.
see him being the one that played all kinds of stuff, like to set this up, like lying in advance. I really could. Like you might see he's even behind the recording that got to Lois.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I could see him setting all this stuff up, like a long play to take down. Because Clark was active then too as Superman because he brought Lex Luthor to prison. So Brainiac definitely could have existed at that time. It could have even been previous villain that he fought, and could be just a little piece of his. Like so, yeah.
That it's also like there's not impossible that there's super genius humans, So.
Yes, that's true. So I just again but he does the job here. He clearly hacks John's suit as John's the one that helps him up, and they peace out, and he immediately lets Amanda know that the job has been done.
Yep. Yeah. No. Wonderful job. I enjoyed Milton in this episode. Glad to finally see him.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll play a big part in next episode. Because of what happens at the end. Yeah. So we'll get there.
Yeah, we will. So that's done. Candace breaks out with John. She can't handle everything. She had a reporter stalking her, wanting her to tell the story to get
Jamie Kennedy friended her.
Kennedy friended her with. I mean, that's a reference if there ever was one,
right?
And yeah, she can't take it, and she's ready to break up with him. But John pulls the "tell me your face, and then I'll go away," and she can't do that. So obviously they
get back together.
Yay! Obviously but John and Natalie are the ones that convinces him to go meet her.
Yeah,
and that's how he gets the job done. And so we go to the interview then. Joe, this is the big part here.
We do miss. So there's a couple things before we get to the interview. Lois gets called out. Luthor calls her out to have this face-to-face debate. She is going to write an article and throw it in there, and they call him where the hell
of all the people, Tash O or something instead. Like,
no.
I think he's a bit Jamie Kennedy experience. Come on, man.
Yeah, well, but so Lois, she's gonna write an article that's gonna get published to basically for her rebuttal. She doesn't want to see him face to face. Clark warns this is his plan. Like, and I mean, it's Amanda's plan because Lex does not want to do this.
Clark's just not stupid. Of like, this is not exactly what it is. Like, nothing's just what it is with Lex.
And so while he is like proofreading her article, and he's like, "Yeah, there's a lot of swears in this. We need to make sure to take." She's like, "This is my first draft. I'm frustrated."
He even says, "Like, well, we'll go there, and you can write an article, and I'll proofread it." She's like, "For grammar?" He's like, "For swear words,
for profanity."
Yeah.
And while they're there, John comes in. This is when Clark he offers to take a look at Clark. But what we also get is somebody throwing a brick through their window at the
liar.
Yeah. And then
this is because of all of the stuff that Lex says before he challenges Lois.
Yep. At the very beginning.
Yeah, and he says like when Godfrey's like when he's like tonight you have another episode at 7.
Yeah.
I love that movie. That was classic power movie.
And Gordon's like, yeah, okay, I guess we can do that. We'll figure it out.
We got to stop for a second before we go any further, and I want to talk about what happens to Lex before his showdown with Lois, and speculate with you a little bit because Lex.
When he shaves his beard, it was a little weird.
When he gets ready to spaz out, like he's spazzing out, he's having an anxiety attack. It seems like he's
because he's not in control.
He's noticing everything that any element that could possibly change, and he can't make it. He can't make it do whatever he wants, and he's going crazy.
The two ladies behind him laughing on the phone, like,
oh my god, he's like,
I can't do this. And then the one
what
guy
are they laughing about?
The one guy sitting on the whatever bench and like has a dirty cup and trying to scrape the crumbs off of it. Like, what? Okay, whatever, dude.
It's just, but I did love. I enjoyed that. That was a nice little tick. The show of Lex.
Yes.
And again, props to Cuddits for how he played that.
Yeah, so then we get the reveal of Otis getting killed. This is what draws Lois into having to do the debate. And that's also when Amanda, back to Lex freaking out, is when Amanda gets the notification that Lois is on her way. So yeah, we get to the debate. They sit down, they do the interview, and it's back and forth. Like it's all verbal back and forth. Like Lex is saying she did this, Lois is like, no, he did this. Like I'm bringing the truth, and he's like, yeah, I'm bringing evidence. And he has a video of Clark fighting like
him,
beating up on Lex,
and
I'm like,
Jonathan going into the hotel.
yeah, like dude, freaking smart.
But
That's
Lois
Milton right
also
there.
Lois also has a trump card too, because she said that you could have had a relationship with your daughter, but you chose to terrorize my family instead of like having a relation with her, so she doesn't want to have anything to do with you. And Godfrey's like, that's an awful big claim. Like, can you
Can
like
you
show
prove it?
me evidence of that?
Yeah.
And she's like, I can
Like, yeah,
call her right now.
she's waiting for my call right now.
Yep. And she goes to call him, and just as she's doing that, Milton hacks John and Natalie's suits.
Yeah,
And
Amanda calls about like, you need to do this right now, because
yeah,
everything was going in Lex's favor. And the
yeah.
minute that Lois brought up Elizabeth, she's like, nope,
Oh, and you can
we're not
say
even attempting.
Lex is like he's ruined. If
Yeah,
that
he's
would
like,
have if that phone call made, Lex wouldn't have been able to do anything. Like he would
yeah,
have crumbled. He wouldn't be getting in any suits or anything.
nope. Yeah,
So yeah,
so Milton hacks a suit, and John's just like, well, what's going on? We see Nat's suit fly
fly
off,
out.
and then John's suit attaches onto him.
And he goes for his. He even hears the suit say, "I'm recalibrating it for what? For you to kill Superman."
Uh-huh.
And John goes after Superman, and the suit, Natalie's suit, goes after the boys.
Which is interesting, because I figured, because the suit John's suit went on the still went on to him, I figured Firebolt, is that what she was calling herself?
I'm
I figured that would go on to her.
I'm thinking it's because only one of them was touching. Like I think he did it to one of the suits. Like I think he can still do stuff with her suit, but I don't think he can control her suit like he can his, with like spread it out to pieces. Because at the end, he like actually no, because the suit's destroyed, not just yeah. Oh, okay,
Exactly.
yeah. So you might be right about that, Joe.
So, and obviously they needed to get rid of the suit.
Yeah.
Like if it was on her, they would not have melted it like they did.
One thing I did notice is it took the boys took down the suit, and the dad could not.
Well,
Like
yeah.
yeah, like the
But he
boys
also,
melted
but
the suit.
again, like I just said though, if Nat was in the suit, they would not have used their heat
Melted it.
vision
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Superman was holding back because John was in the suit.
I did enjoy that though, the boys teaming up
Yes,
to
that was good. That was
yes,
really good.
and just melted the suit. And yeah, John goes back and forth. We got to say too first, Superman knows
Uh-oh.
John coming, and
Yes.
piecing it through the window, shattering the glass, and with the
Yes.
wedding ring on his finger. It was awesome. I
Well, it was
love
another one of those scenes where as soon as he hears it and he makes that quick split decision, and he's in his regular clothes, and then once he goes through the glass, he's in his suit, and it's just like, whew, okay.
two questions.
Yeah.
I should have asked this question last episode, but I'll say it now. Where are the clothes going? Is it
Um
like under the Superman suit? Is that what we're gonna go with as because or did he
so
like
his
ball him
his
up into a ball like in Spider-Man kind of thing and throw him in the corner? He'll get him later
he
or
he's
like
got his ring has a special ability to
Ron
where
Hero.
it shrinks the clothes and puts it in there like Flash. I don't know. No, that's a
I
good
just thought
question.
about it.
Because
I
what
literally
happened in the
just thought
last?
about it. Just thought about it.
Yeah, because we don't know what happened in the last episode.
Yeah, he was in outfit and what happened to his jacket? And nope, he's wearing a full Superman costume. Like,
Yeah,
where'd your what the what? So again, that's just very like
very
nitpicky.
rude of him to just leave his clothes laying everywhere.
And I love how they're like, "What was that?" And Lex is like, "Superman." So yeah, it's a nice little back and forth there. I wish there was a bit more of a fight with him and the suit, but they
I
need the
mean, what
suit
we
for
got was
other
good.
purposes. They need the
Yeah,
suit for other purposes that they don't want to damage. Milton basically ejects John from the suit. Superman saves John, and he tries to go up into space to hear. and
Yeah, can't.
his hearing's not great, so
Nope.
he can't track him down, and they're off with the suit. So yeah, that was a pretty good scene there, uh, Joe.
Yeah.
And
So we get the wrap up of Godfrey.
yeah, he exposes Lois as Superman's wife and vilifies her essentially.
Yeah, because what he's saying is that when Superman came out, she was the one writing about him all the time.
Yeah,
And now, 20 years later, we find out that they're married. So she's basically been writing puff pieces on this guy, on her
yeah.
husband. And it's like, I mean, he's not wrong, but he's
But
also not right.
no, because Superman has been doing the right thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, and at the end, Luther and Amanda make out.
Yep.
And Clark and Lois tell the boys about his condition, his heart condition, and finally Milton gets the suit set up for, and he's changing it for Luther's use. Obviously, kryptoniting it up for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And on the game says, where does he keep the boots when he changes quickly like that? The whole outfit is I don't know, the shoes
So
on.
here's the
The
thing.
whole Superman suit on under him, and he can just
all of it. Yeah, he wears the UGG boots, which are a little bit bigger, and so he can flip his regular boots in and out of.
Oh, okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, or specialized Superman Crocs.
He's a trashy teenage white girl. Superman Croc. Okay.
So Joe, that was a fun episode. We have 2 episodes left.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, I'm gonna be sad when this show ends because this is definitely one of, if not the best CW series that they've had.
It is the best DC CW series. The Smallville was on WB TV, and
Well, it became
UPN
the CW when it became CW.
Yeah, like 8th or 9th or 10th season.
No, it was like season 6 or 7, wasn't it?
Maybe you're right.
It was
But
early. Middle.
I think this is the best of the Arrowverse shows.
Yeah,
with the Arrow mug and Arrow poster,
which is saying something because Arrow and Flash started out strong, and they just kind of went.
Arrow had another really good season in season 5 with Prometheus.
Yes.
Which the Flash I didn't ever think had. I think the Flash never got. There you go. Buster Barnes says Black Lightning underrated.
True.
Yeah,
that's a show I never did watch. That one's on me. I just stopped.
It's hard to keep up with all those shows too, Joe. Like,
well, it did. That's why I stopped. That's why I stopped the Arrowverse stuff. Like, I finished up Arrow, so season 8 of Arrow, the end of the Crisis stuff, and then I just dropped everything. Like at that point, it was already too much to begin with. But because Crisis on Infinite Earth was coming out, I wanted to catch up to that point, and I did. So I finished the season for all those, and then I'm like, I can't. I dropped it the last time for a reason. And the reason is it's just too much.
Buster Barnes talking about Black Lightning. The worst thing about season 4 was I think one of the 2 sisters, I can't remember her name now, it's driving me crazy, had left the show, and it really messed up the storylines. They had a different sister because something happened and her face changed, and in the last episode she came back. It was really, it was, the 4th season was fumbled, but the other 3 seasons are really good. And the main bad guy they had for the first season, Tobias Whale, was really good, really well done. Buster Barnes says, Arrowverse, Flash, Supergirl, Legends were all good at the start and took a nosedive. I didn't like season 3 of Superman and Lois, but season 4 has been good. And Alan the Game said, didn't mind Stargirl. Yep, another one.
We talked about Stargirl here. Season 3 felt rushed.
Yeah.
I mean, they felt like they had more to go on, but they're like, we're only going to see 3 seasons. We got to push everything together. But yeah.
And he said, that was a fumble. I was about the data changing was so weird. Yeah, it made very little sense to me, but they had to try to do best what they had there. Joe, let's take an ad break before we get into the news. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back.
I do also want to point out that Batwoman, both season 1 and season 2, were really good. That's another show I didn't finish.
And again, they changed the lead. That was
and it's still like season 2 still worked out though.
Oh, it did. Javika Leslie was really good. As Batgirl. She was not good as Red Death. Oh my god. I just thought about that again. Okay, let's go forward, guys. We're in positive.
Kind of glad I didn't watch that one. Anyway,
you voted. You dodged that bullet. Not gonna lie.
Good.
Okay. So we're into the DC news, and we have Luca Guadagnino's next project in DC Studios is Sergeant Rock, and Daniel Craig is set to star in the film, is what it looks like.
Buster says season 3 was pretty decent, but then he canceled it. Another one, I didn't finish it, so
Yeah.
sorry. But yeah, so Sergeant Rock.
Yeah.
Sergeant Rock, that's kind of fun.
Yes, it's again.
Allegedly.
I hope that this is going to be good. Daniel Craig seems like it's going to be like you couldn't swing for a better actor. Sergeant Rock is a fictional character appearing in American comic books published by DC Comics. Sergeant Rock first appeared in Our Army at War '83, June 1959, and was created by Robert Kanger and Joe Kubert. The character is World War II soldier who served as infantry non-commissioned officer. So, Joe, have you read much comics with Sergeant Rock?
Sergeant Rock is one I never read. I've seen him in a few different crossovers, and so I know the character, but no, I just know of the character. That's really about it.
I do remember him. He was in that 3-part Justice League episode where half the team went back in time, and Vandal Savage was to play. He is one of the people that John Henry suits up with. So yeah, okay. He is. Yeah, I think that's what he is. I'm pretty sure.
I believe, if I remember correctly, he does show up in the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, like comic. I think him and the what was it? Losers? I don't know, another like easy company, I think is what it was. They show up, they're chasing dinosaurs, and they go through like a couple portals. So,
thank you, Buster Barnes, there for that one. I'm hoping this could be our introduction to JSA, maybe Wonder Woman, also GI Robot appearance. That's the one I'm thinking about, possibly GI Robot appearance.
Probably, yeah, especially since we're getting him in Creature Commandos.
And Alan Gaines says Luca is an unexpected director for a comic book movie. Will be interesting take for sure. I do think so, and I think he works well with Daniel Craig. Sergeant. The other thing that I remember from Sergeant Rock, Joe, they basically made Age Simpson kind of like him in that old episode of The Simpsons where they all had I can't remember the name of their group, but they all had keys to treasure, and it was him and Mr. Burns as the final two members of the group.
Of course,
trying to get the treasure. Oh my god, it was like an old school, like season 3, season 4 episode, like way back in the day.
All right,
like flying hellfish or something.
God, I haven't, dude.
I can't remember.
Especially early Simpsons, I don't remember any of that.
Very early.
All right.
Yeah, so I do think that that was based on that as well.
Love it.
So yeah, it again. This is pretty cool. Just give me more content for DC. The things they're moving across the board. Obviously, I still think Superman needs to be successful for this stuff to keep moving up. WB has lost all its live sports, well, all its like major live sports. And got to be honest with you, I've read an article today. Looks like Comcast is circling to devour their cable TV stuff and take it from them. And at that point, that'll leave WBD with just the studio and the streaming service.
Ugh.
They don't have other revenue sources like the Disney does, or the like Comcast has different stuff. There's 4 big ones I was listening to today: Paramount, Apple, Amazon, and Comcast.
Okay.
So,
yeah, they got. I mean, obviously they have their hands in other things. Disney has plenty of different things to bring in. Yeah, WBD, like I hate to say it, but there's a lot riding on the DCU succeeding.
Oh, 100%.
It's gonna be very upsetting if Superman does not get people come see it.
I really hope it does, Joe, because the sharks are circling. Like you pick apart WBD.
I mean, I know we got Creature Commandos coming out literally in like 2 weeks. We got Superman in July.
Penguin was fantastic.
Yes, but that is Reeves stuff.
Yeah, but it's still Reavers. Like
it still DC. Fits. But then we have after that we got Supergirl in the works. They get I'm assuming they're gonna start filming, and so that movie will still, in theory, come out.
Yeah.
But after that,
we can't even. I don't know if we can say that anymore about DC movies.
Well, that's not. You're not wrong there. But if Superman doesn't make any money, like DCU's dead.
Yeah, I really do believe that as well, Joe. And I didn't want that to be the case. But
But the
yeah,
way things are going, it's
they're
looking
not
that
in.
way. And
People don't
Buster
realize. I don't think
Buster's got a
people
point here.
realize.
I don't think Superman has to make anything crazy like a
No,
billion,
no.
but it can't flop. And
We
yeah, that's the
we're
thing. It can't.
we're thinking it has to at least make like 650.
6 to
Like
7. I'm
yeah,
gonna say 7. It has to make at
I'm
least
thinking
7.
7. I think it should make more than Man of Steel. Like 10, 15 years later.
Yeah,
Like I
should.
do think it should. Like I hope it
But
does too.
but we also are thinking we're talking Man of Steel, and we have the every Snyder groupie who's like, oh, if it's not this, I'm not gonna like it.
I don't see those people, thankfully, because they're living in my blacklist.
Well, sure, but
So,
you know what I mean, though.
oh, they'll do it. They'll do it for sure. And that's not. I'm just talking about for the health of the studio,
Yeah, because
not for
they
anything
don't
else. I enjoyed
realize.
the Superman movie.
Yeah, they don't realize that if this doesn't work, like we're not get that's not coming back. We're not going to
No,
get anything for a good decade if this
no.
doesn't work.
Or the worst possible thing is they could end up getting picked. Like DC could get the carcass picked apart of it. Like Batman could go here. Remember Marvel in the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
Like you need to have successful properties, or you can't keep borrowing money and not making money. Like that is a it's just don't look at their statement of income, statement of earnings, or income
Yeah,
statement, or any of that
yeah.
stuff because it's rough. So yeah, I'm just hoping that this is successful because I want the rest of the DCU, Joe.
Agreed.
And we both will be there to watch that.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Also,
100%. If it's a
uh,
DC movie, I'm watching it. I don't care
also,
what it is.
we talked about this back in
Well,
September
I
because
kind of care what it is.
Nexus Point News had this the director for this project, and Deadline didn't give them any shout out when they put this out. Justin Kroll when he put this out, so boo Justin Kroll for not giving any
Sergeant Rock, that favors all.
Oh my!
Love
Uh,
it.
so
Yeah, that's kind of shitty on Nexus Point, but
I want to give Nexus Point the shout out there because Kroll, you're not going to give it to him for Deadline, but they had that way of really. They've been really good. They got somebody in the know, Joe, because
good. Yeah,
they're on top of stuff. So Superman trailer. James Gunn said he's not going to be at CCXP.
which sucks. We were speculating that.
Yep. The rumor now is that it's going to be on going to be with the movie The Lion King, Mufasa the Lion King, in mid-December, which also would track with the 46th anniversary of the Superman movie, which is December 15th. So I hope that it goes to CCXP and you have a big con and have people like getting excited for it.
CCXP is when?
Brazil.
That is
December 4th to 6th.
okay. So literally 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Lion King is coming out the
3
week
weeks.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know how many people you're going to get to go watch Lion King because the Superman trailer's there.
Like, I mean, we did.
Although there's a lot of idiots out there, so
well, there was that somebody posted in the group chat. It's like
Chris did.
buy a ticket for what was it that came out? What was the other movie? Sonic. Buy a ticket for Sonic 3. Sneak in to Mufasa, watch the trailer, and go back to Sonic 3.
I don't know if that was Chris. I know Chris made.
I think it was Brett. I think Brett might have put that in there.
I know Chris was making fun, like just trying to get more people to go watch Mufasa the Lion King.
Yeah, I had no desire to go see Mufasa, and this trailer is not going to get me to go buy a ticket. I'll wait until it just comes on YouTube. But
YouTube, it might before you or I get a chance to even go watch the movie.
Yeah, yeah,
like on a Tuesday.
But no, like Mufasa's fine, whatever. Like I'll definitely go see Sonic. So hell, put it in front of Sonic. That's gonna get a bunch of people. You're gonna get the kids and their parents to go see because Sonic has been solid movies. Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and there's some Gunn has spoken on a few things. First, he talked about the metahumans in DCU, and I really enjoyed that answer, Joe. He basically was like, they've been around for a while, but now there's like more and more of them coming around. They're starting to be a problem and starting to affect the world a bit more. So I do like that. There was issues like that in Young Justice. They used the metahuman thing like that too.
Yep.
So I will be interested to see where they go with that. And I think that partly is the reason why you see the army armed up against Superman and some of the behind the scenes stuff that we saw. So,
well, yeah, especially since you have, it's not Cord. What it's
Stag.
No, Maxwell
Dang,
Lords.
Maxwell Lord. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Lord Tech.
thank you. You got Lord Tech team,
Yeah,
Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, Metamorpho. Who else was on there?
I'm not
Who else were
sure.
we getting?
Mr. Terrific.
Thank you, Mr. Terrific. How can I forget him? He looks amazing.
I know.
Like you have that team, which is sanctioned,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah, so if you get a new person coming in, of course the army is going to be, wanting to do something with that.
The 2019 Lion King shot-for-shot remake from a few years ago grossed 1.66 billion. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have no idea that had that. I was not one of those 1.66 billion dollar uh, contributors
Well,
to the
so
box
like in that,
office.
like, don't get me wrong, the live action interpretation of the Disney movies obviously has its audience. Like, I went and saw Beauty and the Beast. I really enjoyed that version. But then you have what was one of the other ones? Like the Cinderella. I didn't watch that one. I
I
will
don't think I've
eventually, but
watched
like
any of
that's
them.
not there.
I,
Um,
I think in an interview with Sean Gunn basically confirmed he's already filmed Maxwell Lord content. Someone
nice.
asked him who's his favorite character to play, and he repurposed Maxwell Lord, and he could very well come in and do the Creature Commandos. That's a possibility as well. Maybe
Yeah,
he's using one of the creatures. I'm excited. Like I said, I like that he's adding that. He also says he's not DC Studios isn't rushing on a Batman film. He said there's no sit timetable for anything. The one thing that I've tried to make clear to people from the beginning, in the way that I hope we're different, is that everything in DC is going to be based on the writers. Until we have a screenplay that I'm totally happy with, that movie is not going to get made, no matter what it is. So we have been really fortunate with some screenplays. You know, Supergirl came in and just wow, and Nagara did a great, amazing job. And the Lantern pilot came in, and now the whole in, and it's like wow, that's wonderful, wonderful work. And there's a couple other things that people don't know about, a couple of movies and TV shows that are greenlit or near greenlit, but it's going to be based always on that, on the story, because at the end of the day, if we're happy with the story that we're telling, that's what matters most. And once The Brave and the Bold gets to that point, then we'll make that movie. And Batman won't appear in the DCU until The Brave and the Bold. Uh, Let me see where he said that to. However, we do know that Bruce Wayne will be making his first appearance in Gunn's reimagined DC universe. Gunn confirmed that Batman will appear in The Brave and the Bold, a film exploring the relationship between Bruce Wayne and his son Damian, and the fifth Robin. Uh, that is when he will first see him in the. But until the script is ready, we won't be seeing that film, and we won't be seeing Batman in DCU. It says we have the Batman Part 2 and Matt Reeves universe as well.
I do
Here,
appreciate that they called Damien correctly the fifth Robin.
yeah,
Everybody else
and,
forgets about Steph. Um,
and yeah,
Buster put in here. Yeah, I think Mufasa's gonna make a lot of money. It's a Lion
yeah.
King movie. Yes, it's gonna make money. They put. I think some people misinterpreted it a bit. Like at the end of the day, the script could still be done at some point next year and could film in 2026. That is correct.
That's
That is
correct.
very
It's
correct.
definitely film could be screenplay could be done at any time. Could be done tomorrow. We don't know. Is there a rumor that his shadow is in Creature Commandos? I've heard a rumor that Lex Luthor is in Creature Commandos, but I haven't seen
Yeah, I haven't
anything,
seen
ever seen
anything.
a still or anything. I think I've
I
seen
know
one tweet about it, but
Snell said something in the tweet that he saw
about,
something, but
yeah,
he
he
never
said
actually
avoid
said
it.
what.
Yeah,
So I thankful that. Um, no, like it. I mean, just because here's the thing, my interpretation of what that quote said. Yes, Batman is going to be appearing in Batman Brave or in Brave and the Bold. Doesn't mean he won't appear before that. As of right now, we don't have a Batman that we know of. There easily could be a Batman already, but I mean, maybe it'd be kind of fun if he appears before that, before Brave
pretty
and the Bold.
cool, but I'm
I
not gonna
doubt it.
hold my breath. And Gunn talked about Peacemaker a little bit. He said the truth is almost all of Peacemaker is canon, with the exception of the Justice League, which we will kind of deal with in the next season of Peacemaker. Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to pull that off, but
Yeah, I don't know.
that's what I thought on the game. Sounds like they want to put as much distance between Reeves Batman 2 and the DCU Batman. Buster Burns said, "Yeah, not gonna lie, the people who have seen it it up are slightly annoying. Like, don't get my expectations too high, please. That always is a fear, Buster,
Yeah.
is that the expectations will get too high."
So about the Peacemaker thing, why come out and say that the all of Peacemaker season 1 is canon?
Yeah,
And then so you're telling me Peacemaker happened, and again, don't get me wrong,
we both love Peacemaker.
it's a multiverse. So the events that happened prior, i.e., the Justice League, or I'm sorry, the Suicide Squad, like okay, that could have happened. So could have Suicide Squad, which again, once I've said it before, once you start saying this is canon, you then have to start backtracking saying this is canon and this is canon and this is
Or
canon because
or
everything is
Cornswit was
actually is
shot,
connected.
or Cornswit was shot by a kryptonite bullet with Bloodsport, because in Suicide Squad, Bloodsport said he was in there because he shot Superman with a kryptonite bullet. So
Yes, but we do also see Momoa's Aquaman
Aquaman
and
and Barry's Flash.
Miller's
Yeah,
Flash.
yeah.
So which those are connected to Snyderverse. And so when you say this is all canon and then these parts aren't, like what do you can't
I
actually
could
say that.
see them doing something like this, Buster, and only Peacemaker is the only one that knows that this is not how it actually happened. Like I could see him being like, "This was not like." I could see Peacemaker being the only one that knows that
This is different.
the universe is different. So
If they do that, then I might like it. I mean, I'm gonna like it regardless. But
might have
that
the
would
potential,
actually work. Yeah.
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 And he could be sent there by magic. You don't know who. Like there legitimately could be uh anybody that sent him. Like in the Mortal Kombat thing, he was sent there by a magician to the Mortal Kombat world.
Okay.
Like somebody I don't know who from DC Universe. Somebody was hunting down like somebody with magical powers, and they sent him there. So like again, there is different possibilities. I'll wait to see it before I judge it. And Gunn said for what's next, he was like, I've got 4 different things that I could do, and I'm going to kind of jump back and forth between those things, and I'm going to see which one really speaks to me, and that's the one I'm going to do for his next
Okay.
project in the DC.
Also looks like Peacemaker's coming out August.
Yeah, August after Superman.
Okay.
Also, so we have Porna Jaganathan has been cast as Zoe in HBO Lantern series, so it seems like the castings are wrapping up for them.
Yeah. Zoe's supposed to be a love interest or previous love interest for Hal, right?
Yeah, Zoe's an original character for the Lantern series. Zoe's an effortless, confident, and poised in any setting, even those where she stands out. She is every bit as composed and cunning of the influence as the especially as the influential men around her.
All right.
Yep, just more casting.
Yep.
Frank Grillo commented on Superman, Cornswet Superman, and said that he has a presence. By the way, the kid David Cornswet is going to be a superstar. He's amazing as the rest of the cast of the film, and just James' take on it. I think it's going to be a great movie. Obviously, you're saying that you're in the movie. I would hope, and not that it's crappy. And Buster Barnes says, so I think Peacemaker is canon, bar the old JL scene and the events in the Suicide Squad are canon, but not necessarily the actual movie. That's how I interpret it anyway. We'll be interested to see what happens with Harley Quinn. I think that's
and again, it's like I said, it's a multiverse. So what you could say is that the events leading up to this point to Peacemaker season 1 is canon, and then Peacemaker season 1 can be canon in both universes.
Mm-hmm.
And so it splits off from that point.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Honestly, who knows?
I can't wait to see how they're going to do that, Joe.
I'm interested to see how they're going to do it.
And Gunn confirmed that there's plans for Deathstroke. Someone asked him, will Deathstroke be in DCU? Do you have plans for him? And he was like, yes and yes. On the game says, will Gunn end up writing and directing one of the initial 5 movies he's announced that doesn't have a director yet? Ooh,
that's a interesting. Honestly, let's see how Superman turns out first, and then they'll probably.
I'm calling what Buster Barnes said it before I even got my words out of my mouth. I'm calling the Authority.
Authority be a good one for him because he does well with teams. He does well with groups.
I think he's going to do the Authority next on the game.
That's going to depend on when he.
We haven't heard anything about that since. We haven't heard anything about that since.
We haven't heard anything about any of this stuff. Supergirl's the only one we've heard of that is actually coming out because they have a director, they have a writer,
they have one that was announced. We haven't heard much about that.
Cast. Yeah, like we haven't heard much about anything. We still have a Booster Gold TV show.
Yes.
Something. I don't remember anymore. Like that was on the thing, and then we haven't heard anything about that.
let's take our final ad break of the evening before we wrap up the news and our Smallville Retro recap. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't put the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Buster Brown says, I also think the Authority could sort of be a Superman sequel, hence why we have heard nothing yet. That is possible as well, for sure.
That's probably a good thought, honestly.
Yeah. And so, to the segment of Travis watches this so you don't have to.
Oh, boy.
Batman Beyond Year 1, starring Ryan Potter from DC's Titans, that was written and directed by Michael Yu, is on YouTube now.
Which one was Ryan Potter? Was that wasn't
Beast Boy.
Okay.
Yeah. So I watched this. It wasn't that bad.
Oh, yeah.
It was just okay. Like you honestly, if they had more money, I think it would be even better. But it's only 14 minutes, so it's not a whole lot. So it's just a brief thing. And yeah,
is it multiple episodes, or just gonna be like the one?
Just one thing. I don't know if there's gonna be any more after this. But yeah, it was okay. They did basically to play on one of those Batman Beyond episodes where is a part of it, and Terry has a romantic relationship with one of the members of the Royal Flush Gang, and their family is the rest of the Royal Flush Gang. So yeah, they did that, and that's one of the better episodes of Batman Beyond.
Yes.
So that was a smart play, and yeah, it was kind of enjoyable. It was unique. It's not a waste of time. It's not. It's 14 minutes. Ryan Potter's good enough at acting action that it holds up well in fight choreography. So
yeah, you wouldn't know by watching Teen Titans or Titans.
No, well, Beast Boy did. Yeah, well, you would know because Beast Boy did all kinds of hand-to-hand combat and fighting. He didn't transform any animals, Joe.
Good point. That's a good point.
Bat Boy at the end of season. Well, God, sometimes I think about some of the decisions they made. Like Beast Boy didn't transform into a lion. That's the tiger. That's the only thing he transformed in for like 3 seasons.
That was actually one of my questions on the Geekverse the trivia thing. I'm like, which animals did Beast Boy turn into, or Gar? Because he didn't go by Beast Boy. Yeah, that was fun. Anyway,
oh my God, there's a couple. Hummingbird.
Travis, Snell got it right too. So
Hummingbird, tiger.
Did he turn into a virus at one point? I don't remember.
Snake.
No, I'm thinking of Teen Titans Go.
Yeah,
he turned into a virus. That was fun.
So yeah, check that out. It's kind of cool. It's worth your time. Big Belly Burger is going to be in DCU, Joe.
Yeah.
It looks just like Burger King. The design of the Big Belly Burger. It looks just like Burger King. So I thought that was pretty cool. Alan Tudyk has confirmed that he will voice the DCU's Clayface in Creature Commandos. And now we have him as Dr. Phosphorus in the Max series. He voiced Clayface already in Harley Quinn series, and describes the character as a killer and homicidal maniac, the Dr. Phosphorus. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
So, Joe,
I mean, him being a in DC as much as he has been is awesome.
He was so good and Powerless. Good and Powerless. God dang. So we wrap up the night, obviously, with our Smallville retro recaps. Season 5, episode 19, season 5, episode 19, Mercy. It could have been called Saw or Sawville.
Right? Like, I meant to look up.
I'm looking it up right now when the first Saw came out.
Yeah, I meant to look that up while I was watching it. I was watching it at work. Because I meant to look up when this episode came out, too. Which...
This episode came out 2 years after Saw.
2 years after. So, yeah, perfect time to do that. Like,
they've done this before on this show.
Because was it 2 episodes prior, a couple episodes prior, they did the Lana Get Addicted to Death thing, which came out, which followed that one movie where all the doctors were using, like,
you could go pretend to get killed and then brought back life kind of thing. Yeah. So they do that kind of stuff. And Joe, I'm going to be honest with you, here worked completely for me. I dug this episode. I remember this episode, and I think it's mainly because John Glover. John Glover is tour de force. Yes. He was 62 at the time of this film.
Really?
Yes. 18 years ago. 18 years ago, this dropped. So he was 62. He's 80 now. So yeah, I
love John Glover.
Oh my God, he was so amazing here. He's such a good actor too. Like, he has such like range, and he can get into it being a villain. He's so good here. you're not sure if he's telling the truth. And that final scene where him and Clark are staring at each other, like, god damn, like, hold it just for a second, and no words are said, and it's still great acting. I absolutely adored this episode. I love the side character. The only thing I didn't like about this episode that really annoyed me, why would you have that stupid guard tack the line out? Like, everyone knew he was the person behind it when you showed him like that. Why wouldn't you have like 3 guards or 5 guards? I'll say something to Lionel. Like, I know that guy's the guy. I know he's going to be the guy. Spoiler alert, he was the guy. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I mean, I didn't, but again, I was at work and
you
I
were
was
at work,
working.
yeah. And in Talkville, they said the same thing. And Tom Willing was like, I didn't notice it. I was watching this as I was eating breakfast, so
Doing
I
other
must have
things.
missed that part. And you
Yeah.
just said that. I was like, okay, that's a definitely a valid excuse. You could definitely like miss it if you didn't see it at that moment.
Do you remember this episode when it aired?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because I remember how much I enjoyed it. Like, I didn't see Saw, so I didn't have any frame of reference for this.
Oh, okay, fair. So I have seen Saw. Like, I saw Saw, I think
Did you in theaters or like
year or two after it came out.
Yeah.
Did not remember this episode whatsoever.
Ooh, you must have enjoyed this episode more than if you didn't
it was
remember.
I mean, it was fine. It was a good time.
Can I say
But
one
again,
thing?
I was thinking like, oh, this is a Saw ripoff.
Can I say one thing?
What's that?
I will want Allison to move on if something happened to me. I would.
Maybe not with the guy who might have killed you though.
Or maybe not, like, while my body's still cooling in the ground. Like Jonathan hasn't did that long. Like, and now you're going.
It's been
Even just a couple months. Like,
it's been a while.
at least take 6 months. At least take a season. Like, come on.
Hey, everybody grieves in their own way.
The creepy old Lionel's there, like, you're vulnerable.
But she's not. Yes, but she is not giving him that satisfaction, though.
She's going to be entertaining him at all.
Well,
but he does know the secret. He knows the secret.
Money. Well, yeah,
secret.
That too.
And one thing I really enjoyed was the little powwow that Clark and his mother had after everything was over on the couch. Like, oh my God, Lionel knows. And then Clark goes and has a little like conversation with Lionel, and that was a great scene too. Where this is like one of the first times he sees Clark threaten somebody.
Yeah, right. Especially when like, it's okay, son. I'm not your son. I'm only, what does he say, Jonathan Kent's son or whatever.
Yeah. You can't replace Jonathan Kent or something like that.
Yeah. The thing is though, like, this was because he found out that Lionel knew 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was going to tell Martha immediately.
Yeah.
And then didn't. And then held off until now. Like, oh wait, you couldn't wait till she got home to say something to her? No, you go wait 3 weeks?
Yeah, and one other thing I really enjoyed, Joe, is when Clark. Well, a couple of things. I like the Clark and Lex working together to find their parents. I just miss them after them being on opposite sides for so long. Like,
yeah, and it's the thing about Lex is the one reaching out to try and get that friendship back, but then immediately like giving Lionel the 3rd degree of like, Clark was here and then he was across town in a matter of minutes. What's going on? Like, you don't want friendship. You just want him close so you can spy on him again.
I did love when they're watching him in the feed and Lionel's like, we both know Clark's a special boy. And Lex is like, and Clark doesn't take his eyes off the screen, which is great. I'm glad he didn't look back at him. And like, Dean Lionel's like, Clark is like a son's father could be proud of. I'm like, dude, like you literally, like, Martha told you like 10 minutes ago, like, be a nice guy, like, treat your son good. And you're out here, you couldn't help yourself. You're like war and peace in him. Like, you're like training him. You're still at him, even though, like, you know, you could have just showed him some love. He probably wouldn't have believed you, but you could have tried and showed him some love. But no, you tell him Clark's the son that, you know, I always wanted, basically.
Basically, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though, and then Martha is even like, you know, you could just talk to your son instead of trying to take the company back from him and with all these shadow companies. Yeah, I can't do that. And you wonder why Lex has got like issues.
And then, you know, what's going to make those issues better? Me telling Lex that I love Clark, the one person he's obsessing over, and don't know why everyone thinks he's so special. When's the episode again where Clark and Lionel switch bodies? A couple seasons ago. That was a good episode.
Yeah.
That was strange that they did, but the way both of them pulled off each other's mannerisms was really good.
Yeah. No, yeah, that one worked. That one was pretty fun.
There's a few good episodes coming up, though, Buster. We got one in season 6, I think, episode 10, where Clark's in the insane asylum, and it's one of my favorite episodes because they basically make everything that happened in the show be in his head, and it's so good that I actually get to the point where I'm like,
But that's a classic trope, though.
I know, it's really good. It's really good. And John Jones is there, and he's getting drugged, and so. This was a good episode, Joe. This was a mix up. I like these kind of things where they change it up, but it still moves the storyline, but it's still like you're doing style, but you're moving the storyline a little bit. So
it worked.
A few episodes left this season. I can't remember that was a pretty good episode if I do recall.
I don't remember any of them.
Okay, Joe.
I'll catch up with. I'll watch. I'll remember when I watch it.
We'll be back next week at our normal time of Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, listeners, we'll see you guys talking about Superman and Lois, season 4, episode 9.
Yeah, and check out Marvel Alliance here in about an hour. So
yes, not even about an hour. Exactly an hour. Please check out Marvel Alliance. I'm not sure. I think it's 5 things they have to be thankful for.
Yeah, how come they can do fun things? We have to talk about TV shows.
Content, Joe. We were talking about this.
Oh, that's right. My bad. Sorry.
Or I could tell you, because I did see it, and it's one of the things here. Back in DC Chapter 215, our top 5 DC live-action TV shows.
Yeah, was I here for that? I don't remember.
You were there for that. Your name
right
out there.
I do too much. I can't remember what they do. What they talk about.
We've been around with that. So everyone, thank you for joining us, Buster Barnes.
Yes, thank you all.
Andrew in the chat. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back next week, like I said, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Yep. See you, everyone.
Bye, y'all.